Alright folks, today we're going to take a look at Solidworks Revolve feature, and we have a tutorial that is available to us for us to follow along that is directly built into Solidworks. You can also watch this YouTube to keep up with that. If you take a look at the tutorials, which is right here on our resource tab, we can follow along with the Solidworks tutorials set 2, and if you take a look, we have Revolves and Sweeps, which is right here. So we can click on the Revolves and Sweeps, and basically what we're going to be making is this candlestick holder, which is the Revolve feature that we have not yet touched, and then also the Sweep feature to go ahead and create the handle. So I'll hit Revolves and Sweeps, and we can follow along with this tutorial to get this part created. So I'll hit next. And the first thing you have to know about Revolves and Sweeps, or Revolves in particular, is that we're drawing half of what we want our final product to be. So if you take a look at this, our bottom section is 90 millimeters. That means that the total or overall width of this is going to be 180 millimeters when we're done. The height remains the same, but whatever line we're revolving about will be doubled, and you'll see that as I work through the lesson. Because we are in metric, I'm going to go ahead and change my units to metric. So I'll hit Options, Document Properties, Units, and we'll go to millimeters. Okay. And once again, you can see we're working off our origin. So I'm going to start on the front plane. I'm going to spacebar normal to that front plane, and I'm going to sketch a line that is directly vertical off my origin. That's where I'm going to start. If you want, you can also place the horizontal line, and we can smart dimension those to 220 by 90 millimeters. All right, and then if you zoom out, you'll also notice they have a little sketch line coming off at 20 millimeters. So I'll get that drawn and smart dimension that to 20 millimeters. You should note that we have a fully defined sketch and that everything is black, which is a good sign. All right, so we have a fully defined sketch that is black. So we can go ahead and next to our next step, where we are creating a simple arc. That arc has a center point that is perpendicular to this line. All right, so the center point falls on a perpendicular line. So I'm going to zoom into that section, and I'll create a tangent arc. I will select this portion and this portion. So all I do is select my point, come down, and now we can define the dimensions on that. So I'll go ahead and smart dimension this arc. All right, it has a radius of 10.9. All right, which gives us that arc. I will hit next. All right. We're going to create a couple more vertical lines coming off this and another arc. You'll learn a new feature in this where we're setting relations to create two lines that are equal, and I'll show you that in a second. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a line that is coming off here. I'll take a little space and I'll create another line, like so. Then I can get an arc placed in between these two. The one thing that we do have to do is set these two equal to each other. So I'm going to select this line. I'm going to hit Shift on my keyboard, hold Shift on my keyboard, select this line. I'm going to set them equal to each other. Setting them equal to each other, you take a look at this new relation that has been added. It tells me that if I define the dimension on this line to 40 millimeters, it will automatically set this line to 40 millimeters, which is a nice feature. So using these relations can save us some dimensioning down the road. It can also save us some parameters if we know these lines need to be equal to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and select another arc to get placed in here. Like so. And I can get that dimension to a radius of 20. That should space these lines out appropriately. Okay. In this particular tutorial, they have you draw a solid line draw the arc, and then trim out the line. Whichever option you decide to go with will work.
So this is the guy in the front, right?
All right. What they're having us do here is our relations, which we've already done. So we're going to go ahead and create a tangent arc to swing down for this. So I'll go to create arc, tangent arc, and I'm going to swing this arc out like so, and then I'll place this point down here. Just like so. We can go ahead and get these dimensions now. This has an overall height of 80 millimeters, so I'll select this point, and pull out my dimension to note that at 80, like so. And this has a dimension of 12.5. Good. And this has a radius of 60. Good. You notice that I have a fully defined sketch now, completely black. The cool thing about revolving is what it does is takes this simple profile that we've just done and spun it about a center axis. So this is my profile that I'm going to spin about this center axis. So I'll come over to Features and select my Revolve, Boss, or Base. I will click on it, and it automatically looks at this section. You can see it scroll into it or zoom into it. And in our Property Manager for our Revolve feature, I always like to say work from the top down, so work from this section all the way down to here. First thing it's asking for is the axis of revolution. The axis of revolution is also the center point in which we're going to revolve about. So I'm going to click in this box and tell the computer that this is my axis. All right. We're revolving blindly, and this asks how many degrees we want to revolve. So if we only want to revolve, let's say, half of this, I can tell it 180 degrees. My selected contours are the contours or the area that I want to revolve. So I will select this, and you can see what it does is it automatically starts to revolve that into a solid feature for the amount of degrees that I've selected. So if I change my degrees, you can see this revolve feature change as well. If I want this to be completely solid around, I could say 360 degrees. It will automatically finish this up, and what you're left with is now a solid that is spun about or created from that simple sketch that we just did. This can save you a lot of time. If you take a look at this, this is one feature driven off of one sketch. You could create this with extrusions. However, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 extrusions, or 6 extrusions with a loft. All right. So it makes much more sense in this particular case, in many of our cylindrical parts, to go ahead and revolve those features to save us some time. In the next tutorial, I'll cover how to create the handle for this.